Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Have any of you had a glitch in the Matrix? If so, please share your story. I'm very interested.
I have one OP, happened a while ago, back when I was 16 and living in Virginia. Be me. Be leader in my scout organization because everyone else is an idiot. Adults decide we all need to go camping cause builds character or whatever. I have to carpool with 3 13-year-old squeakers. Let's call them James, Grant, and Trent. Trent eats his snot and wipes it everywhere. Grant has panic attacks and can't be left alone. James is pretty chill. I called shotgun cause seniority. Pops is driving. Boring ride, like 5 hours with no conversation but little kid talk. Minecraft came out recently, and that is literally all they talk about. I mean 5 hours of Minecraft, and just Minecraft. James takes a nap while the other two drill into my sanity. We stop about 2 hours in to go to the bathroom and grab snacks. James is still asleep. Grant goes into the bathroom with Trent, still discussing Minecraft. I grab snacks, Slim Jims cause they are delicious. Pops buys them cause I'm broke. Eating a Slim Jim in the car, and Trent walks back, alone. I ask where Grant is, and he seems confused. Pops is confused. James is asleep. I ask where Grant is. You went to the bathroom together, and I'm responsible for him. But anon, I don't know a Grant. Pops asks me if I am all right. Seriously spooked now. If I don't have all the kids, I get in serious trouble. Plus, I promised Grant's mom I would take care of him because he gets scared easy. Pops gets gas while I talk to Trent. Trent doesn't remember a Grant and is freaking out a little because I am freaking out a lot. James wakes up because I start getting loud and telling him to stop messing with me. James asks where Grant is. Pops gets back into the car, starts driving away. Yell at him to wait for Grant. James is weirded out and asks where Grant is too. Pops thinks I'm messing with him and laughs. Got me a non. Nice one. We gotta go though. Need to make camp before nightfall. Flip out and get out of the car. Flip out and get out of the car. Dash inside the store, some teeny convenience store in the boonies. There is one bathroom in the store. I go inside and there is one toilet and sink. Can hear Pops yelling at me to get back in the car. The store owner looks bemused. Ask him if he saw 2 boys go to the bathroom. Says that it was me, my father, and Trent, and that no one else was there. Spooky for me. Seriously though, I'm scared. Assert most leadership-like stance, and look, ask again with as deep a voice I can muster. Heard that works sometimes, don't judge me. 3 people. Now get out of my store. Really confused and upset, kinda liked Grant, even though he was a complete wuss. Go back to the car slowly while looking everywhere in the surrounding woods for him. Maybe he got spooked or something. Get back in the car. Looking in the passenger side mirror, I see Grant sitting behind me. Snap my head around to see him sitting in the seat right where he was before. James is now asleep again. Trent asks Grant what his favorite Minecraft sword is for the 5 millionth time. My dad asks me what the hell is wrong with me. Say that Grant was missing and that I went to look for him. Anani never left the car. Take a nap for the next few hours. You must be tired. Really freaking confused. Turn to ask Grant what the hell happened. Look scared because I am clearly upset. I didn't want to go in because I saw a shape in the woods. Typical Grant shit. Scared of his own shadow. James wakes up and asks me why I'm upset. Say Grant freaking fell through a wormhole for a few minutes. Pops laughs it off and the ride continues. Oh God, I wish that's where it ended. Pops laughs it off and the ride continues. Another few hours of driving in the wilderness. It was probably West Virginia considering we camped there a lot. It's spring, so it gets dark a little later. However, it is 6 or so think dusk with long shadows in a forest. We arrive at the campsite. Only 10 or so scouts showed up, maybe 5 more adults. Grab stuff from the back of the car and begin setting up a tent. Single-man tent, Not too nice, but works for its purposes. Finish putting stuff away and head over to build a fire because my entire troop is incompetent. Notice there are only a few guys. Yell out to hurry up with the tents so we can start cooking. Eat a leftover Slim Jim in the meantime. Chat with a couple friends. Anyways, around 7 or so, everyone's tents are up. Trent and Grant are tenting together, as are a bunch of little scouts because they get scared easy. James is a bruiser of a kid, though, and sleeps by himself. Count tents. We have 6, the correct amount. Start counting scouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where is 10? Figure he went to take a leak. Start cooking. Delicious potatoes and meat substance. Scarf it down, then tell spooky stories. Scare little guys shitless. Take final head count. 9. Count again. 9. Begin to get upset. Remember what happened at the gas station. Look for Grant. No Grant. 9 to 10 o'clock now. Pitch black and extremely creepy. Realize I have to look for the damn kid. Tell my buddies we have to look for Grant. Grant? Oh God, not this again. Get really fucking pissed and tell them to stop messing with me. James tells me that Grant wasn't with Trent earlier in the tent. Ask Trent, and he says he set the tent up himself and invited James, but James declined. Look up at the stars and figure that I am going to be in so much trouble. No one other than me and James ever remembers the kid's existence. My face when I have never seen Grant ever again. Forgot to add that. His parents were new but important members of the Troop Adult Council, but after the incident, I never saw them again, and none of the adults remembered them. I don't know what happened to them. As for James, he later became patrol leader the year after I left, and we are pretty good friends, kept in touch through email while I went to college. He swears they existed. The few pictures he had of him he can't find, but swears that Grant was real. Oddly enough, I found Grant's hat in the back of the car about a year later. It could have been another hat, but it looked a lot like his. Looks like pick-related, and we root for a different team. Anyways, I feel a little bit better after telling you guys this. Thanks for listening to my ramblings.
10 years ago, on a road trip with a friend to Chicago from Colorado, a couple 100 miles from the destination, get hungry, in the middle of nowhere. No town, a couple farm structures in the distance, but pretty desolate. All of a sudden, Pizza Hut 100 yards off of highway, sitting there by itself. What the fuck? Alone here in the middle of this wasteland. Whatever, we're starving. Only a few cars in lot. We enter and the place is packed, totally full. Families and couples hanging out. Doesn't look like people who are traveling. They don't look local either, like suburbs rather than country folk. We sit down, totally confused and slightly spooked. We order food and chill out while we wait. My friend points out the clocks on the walls. The arms are spinning. We eat and got out of there. Definitely a weird experience. There was also an odd feeling there, more than the strangeness of the situation, like something deep and heavy, as if the air was much more thick. We made the same trip the following year, and we were going to stop at the Pizza Hut with the spinning clocks. Not only was it not there, but not even a trace of anything ever being there. I realize how retarded a ghostly Pizza Hut sounds, but my friend and I still talk about it. Shit was fucked up.
I've got a few. Live right above, like about 75 meters to the south. Underground subway tracks in central London. Leave for lectures one day. Set laptop and a microphone up to record for a few hours to see how often trains pass beneath. Shut every single program off except the recording program. Lecture's over. Start heading back. Get back, start to unlock the door. Hear music. Laptop's playing my whole music collection at full blast. Fubar 2K. Program still recording. Check recording, absolutely nothing notable. just trains from time to time. My laptop just suddenly started playing music about 45 minutes before I got back. Room was left untouched, but I didn't even hear anything before the music started playing. I used to use Windows back then. I swear I shut every single program, except the recording program. Another one, back in high school, wanted to be a drummer for a band with a friend. They take me to some guy who teaches drumming. A year later, I'm in a band with my friend. "Hey, Anon, you could use some lessons. Why don't you go to that teacher guy again?" "Who?" "That guy, the one we went to a year ago." I remember absolutely nothing. Another friend apparently went with us, so we were 3, and said I wasn't very interested in the conversation. I wanted to teach myself drumming, so that makes sense, but I can't remember a single thing. Went to have drumming lessons half a year later to some other guy. Left drum lessons. Apparently, this was the same guy we visited first, and apparently neither he nor I remember meeting each other. My friends told me later he was the same guy. Why did this creep me out so much? This is the only time in my life that I've ever completely blanked out on something. I remember nothing. A complete black hole. I don't know if I was ignoring everything because I wasn't interested, but man, complete black hole. Never happened to me since. Never happened to me before.
I had a friend in high school, let's call him Bob. Bob was a very nice fellow, and we were semi-kinda close. We had similar tastes in music, and we'd share CDs. This is in the late 80s, way before file sharing. Anyway, we eventually graduated, and I moved several hundred miles away to college, and we lost touch. When I left for college, I had one of Bob's CDs still in my possession, Beat by King Crimson. Fast forward 10 years. I'd graduated college, gotten married, and was knee-deep in my career, and finally saved up enough money and bought our first house. I had talked to my wife about Bob and hanging out with him many times. Every time I pulled out his King Crimson CD, I would bring up another crazy story about our youth. She could even recite my Bob stories word for word. I had told them so much. In the new house, and while unpacking, I see the CD in a box. Hadn't noticed it in many years and thought, gee, I really should track down Bob and return this. Right then, the doorbell rings. It's Bob. And he says, hey, you wouldn't happen to still have my King Crimson CD, would you? I look down. I'm holding it in my hand. I hand it to him, and his mouth drops open. Mine probably already is. We exchange pleasantries. I probably asked him how he found me, but I no longer remember. He eventually takes off. I haven't seen Bob since. I told my wife that Bob picked up his CD, and she asked me, who is Bob? I've never heard you talk about him before. I laughed because I thought she was joking with me, because I had talked about him so often. She wasn't. I pushed the issue, and she was at a complete blank as to who Bob is and why I had never mentioned him.
Have you tried reaching Bob again?
Yeah, I've tried to find him on Facebook and find a friend type sites with no luck. I've asked old friends about Bob, and no one remembers him either. That isn't too unusual, though. We weren't the most memorable people in high school. But get this. One guy does remember him. Carl remembers Bob. And Carl still has Bob's old Raiders of the Lost Ark VHS tape.
With friend at my apartment. 2 beds in my living room, I'm lying on one, friend on another. See, he's passed out, pass out too. Weird things begin here. Wake up, or so I was thinking. I look around the room and my apartment is on fire. Fire is on my bookshelves right next to our beds. Yell at my friend to wake up, he just lies in bed and looks dead. Try to find a way out, but black smoke and fire is coming out of my kitchen and blocking my way. Realize how much smoke I have been breathing. Quickly get my phone and call my mom. Can't remember why mom, maybe because of panic. Suddenly my legs give up and I fall to the ground. Feels like I'm dying, and it's so real that I actually thought it's my time now. Eyes start to close, I see my mom answered, and the seconds go by, she's just repeating my name. Completely paralyzed at this point, can't do anything. Try to say something to my mom but can't. Eyelids getting heavier and keep closing for longer time now. Feel this warm sensation that is quite pleasant. Eyes won't open anymore. Can't smell anymore. Then I died. Or so I thought. Wake up, heart beating 1,000,000 times per second. Where the hell am I? It actually takes me minutes to realize what happened and where I am. See friends sleeping there, everything is fine. No fire, no smoke, nothing. And now it gets even weirder. Week after that, I'm buying new sofas to replace those dirty old beds. Burn hole through one of my beds in my bedroom. Remember that my friend and I smoked hookah at my bedroom that night before sleeping. A piece of that hot burning coal must have fallen on my bed and burned its way through it. Think to myself, how didn't this bed light on fire? Remember the dream I saw that night. Fire and smoke were coming from my bedroom. Didn't even know that piece had fallen and burnt there alone for a good time until I bought a new bed. It's a fucking wool, how did it not set on fire? That dream was way too real.
So I had this neighbor named Sam back when I was a kid. We used to hang out all the time and sneak into people's yards and steal things, pretending we're ninjas. He was the guy in charge and I was the tag-along. One day he manages to get into a shed. Tells me to come in, he goes in first. I go in. He's not there. Get confused and leave. Go back to his house to see where he is. Talk to his mother. Anon, Sam's been out of town for a month now. He went to live with his father. Get spooked because I played with him every day. His mother would always react as if he was around too. My parents would always say I used to run around by myself ever since he left. Go to bed, scared out of my mind. The next day he comes over to visit me. Get skeptical and tell him he isn't real. He looks at me weird and asks what I'm talking about. He wants to play. I stay home in fear. My father looks at me and says, Anon, that isn't like you. Why aren't you going out to play with Sam? Explain to him why. He looks at me strangely and asks if I'm feeling sick. He was good friends with Sam's dad. He says, that's impossible though. Sam was just here right now, and his father passed away in a tractor accident last year.
Be 3 years ago. Driving to a friend's house, I'm with another friend. We both are best pals with the one we are going to visit. Know each other since we were kids and have been hanging out together since then. We know the route to his house perfectly. Fucking perfectly. It's around 8:30 p.m. Completely sure because we wanted to see some TV movie that would start at 9. And like 15 minutes before we said, hey, shit starts in 45 minutes. Let's see it at Anon's house. Needless to say, the whole distance from house to house in car is around 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm completely sure it was 8:30 p.m., getting close to the house. Following some street, 2 blocks straight, turn right, and there's the house. We did that. Suddenly we are lost. What? .jpg. Drive a bit more, turn around, until we are out on the same street again. After the confusion, we realize we went ahead to the 8th block when we were supposed to turn at the second one, and we are hell sure we did. But wait, it gets even worse. Still confused, now at Anon's house. We tell him our weird story and he thinks we are high or something. Whatever, let's see the movie. It already started. Check cell phone. 9:10 p.m. After thinking a lot about it, we got to the conclusion that somehow we ported from the second block to the 8th one instantly, and also went forward in time like 30 minutes in the process. Fucking insane.
I have a story to contribute, nothing crazy though. If you've played Halo 2 as much as I have, then you know how glitchy the physics in the game can be sometimes. That's why I termed most of my weird experiences as Halo 2 physics. Be me, 2005-ish. With my first girlfriend at the time. Sitting around her room chillin', trying to decide what to do. Decide to go for a drive. Go to grab the keys to her car for her. As I slip my index finger through the key ring, it slips and falls to the floor. Keys absolutely flip their shit. I mean, it's like someone took them and threw them on the ground as hard as possible, even though they merely slipped off my finger onto the floor. Reach down to pick them up. Everything is normal for the rest of the day. Seriously, go take your keys and throw them to the ground as hard as possible. Then try to imagine how it would be if you managed to throw them down 5 times as hard. That's how fiercely those keys hit the floor. They never left an imprint on the floor or anything. We brought it up occasionally afterward. Shit was weird? Though I should clarify, it seemed the keys fell at normal speed, but impacted and reacted to the impact the way they would if they were launched at the floor instead of falling.
Ever since I was young, maybe 4 or 5, I will have very vivid dreams of places I've never been. Very vivid and complex dreams. I'm 40 now, so this has happened a lot, and still does. The most mind-blowing one was when I was 13. My parents got divorced, and my mother discovered that my dad had 2 other kids before he married her that he never told her about. A son and a daughter. The son at the time was almost 30 and lived in Savannah, Georgia. The daughter was 26 and lived in Atlanta. For some reason it was thought to be a good idea to meet the son, so we took a trip and drove to Savannah. As we drove into the city, I remember feeling like things felt familiar. I'd look to my left and right, expecting to see certain things immediately before seeing them. After a while, we were in the historic district. I'm getting chills typing this, and we made a right turn. When we did, I was flooded with emotions. At once I felt I would cry, laugh, or panic. The way the trees were covered in the hanging Spanish moss, the way the trees arched over the street, the cooling of the temperature from the shade. I had been there before in my dreams. It was exactly the same. The streets make these odd circles in points, and at the end of the street we were on was a church with a Jesus statue with its arms stretched to the sky. I was so overwhelmed that I started to cry. My mom always thought that it was because I was nervous about meeting my half-brother or the divorce. But on 3 occasions while we were there, I was overcome by such a massive sense of dreadful familiarity that I had been there before, that I'd start to cry hysterically. There was a sense of relief when we left, like I could finally exhale. These instances of knowing where I am without ever having been there previously happens frequently. Every time I'm still in wonder and have a degree of trepidation. But I've never been as overwhelmed by that feeling as I was during that trip.
This sounds like something my mother told me she experienced. She and most of my family were taking a family trip to Philadelphia to visit distant relatives. She was about 12 to 13 at the time. She said they stopped to do some tour of a plantation house that was owned by a riverboat captain, and from the moment they went through the gates, she felt overwhelmed by everything. She described it as everything feeling crisp and sharp, and it felt like coming home after a long trip. She said that she could smell fresh bread being baked and heard footsteps and laughter and the general sounds of a house that was alive. Eventually, they went downstairs to see the root cellar, and my mother said she got vertigo, like she could see the lawn through a window and then back down and then back up, then back down, etc. The tour guide pointed to 2 oddly shaped stone pieces on the ground and asked if anybody could guess what they were for. Apparently, they placed a springy piece of lumber in the grooves, and the children used it like a trampoline. Eventually, they made it to the rear of the house, and my mom said something was missing in the yard. She asked the tour guide where the other house was, and the tour guide apparently was surprised and said that there used to be a servant's house there, but a fire had burned it to the ground. Nothing eventful happened for the rest of the tour. 15 years later, my mother decided to talk about that experience with the rest of my aunts, uncles, and grandparents. They all acted like she was loopy, except for my grandfather, who came up to her a bit later crying and said he experienced a lot of similar things then. His occupation? Captain of a tugboat and eventual harbor master.
Summer before my senior year of high school. Dinky little town, lots of gas stations and hardware stores. Drive over to a friend's house. About a 10-minute drive from my house, 15 on a bad day. Spend the day there, have dinner, whatever. Leave his house sometime around 7. Text parents I'm coming home. Drive home, nothing special. Come in through the door, parents freaking out. Where were you kind of shit. Confused. Told them I left right after I texted them. They point to the clock, it says 9. Check the phone, same time. Run outside and check the car clock. 9 again. What the hell happened that 2 hours of my life disappeared when I remember the whole drive?
Often when I would smoke a good amount, I would experience something so often that I gave the occurrence a name entering into stoner time. I will explain what stoner time is in a minute, but the short of it is that I would find I would be able to do a ridiculous amount of things in an impossibly short amount of time. At first, I thought, I'm just stoned, no big deal. But it happened so often, I would start to watch the clock or set the timer on my microwave and test it. For example, I would go into another room, feed my cats with both a can of wet food, pour into their bowls dry food, rinse the fork I used, and put it into the dishwasher, go back into my other room, enter the bathroom, piss, wash my hands, go back into the kitchen, grab a beer, open it, pour it into a glass, and realize I did all of this in 13 seconds. The travel time alone, going from one room to the next, back and forth multiple times, would take longer, not to mention everything else I did. It was weird. There were times I was able to do all the above and completely USMC-style field day clean my 850 square feet apartment within a few minutes in stoner time. And if you have ever been in the USMC, you know exactly how thorough a field day is. I'm talking to the point where you are scrubbing baseboards and sealing fan blades, much less the basics of vacuuming, dusting, and cleaning all the bathroom and all the glass in the place. It was almost like I was somehow actually slowing down time, or somehow inadvertently speeding me up in impossible ways. I don't smoke anymore because at the end of the day, I stopped being productive and became far, far less productive. Or I could have just been fucking stoned and somehow imagined it all. I won't deny the argument.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.